The trade deadline has come and gone, and we're somehow more confused.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On, and you'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, so check out Sleeper today. It's currently operational in over 30 states. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granato. Steve, I mean, we know what's going on. I don't even have to ask you.
Do we know what's going on?
Actually, no. That's true. Do we? We kind of don't know what's going on.
We kind of don't. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Of course, on today's episode, we have a preview of the finale against the Tampa Bay Rays. They can't get out of town soon enough. We're going to talk a little bit more about we're going to talk about the trades here in just a second, but we're going to talk a little bit more about them later on in correlation to what the Yankees gave up in the small moves that they did make. Talk about some of the minor league stuff and all that as promised. But first, Stacey, let's talk trades here. The Yankees made two trades right at the deadline, right after the deadline. The information came out. Keynan Middleton comes to the Yankees in exchange for Juan Carela. Of course, that was with the White Sox, and then the Yankees make another small move for Spencer Howard in exchange for cash. So we were live streaming, and thanks to everybody who was hanging out with us doing the live stream. That was a whole bunch of fun, even though there wasn't a ton to talk about as far as the Yankees are concerned. But we got to do a bunch of stuff and Q&As and stuff. So it was a whole bunch of fun. Thank you guys for joining us. So I wanted to talk about this, Stace. So the Yankees go and get a reliever in Keynan Middleton, and then they get Spencer Howard, who's got more controllability. And he's a guy that, hasn't really put it together at the major league level. He's a former top 100 prospect. Like, he's got all his arb years still. Like, there's understandability there in getting an arm like that. Just your thoughts. I know I got them during the live stream, but just your thoughts on the deadline here for the Yankees.
I almost feel like they would have been better off doing nothing, because it doesn't feel like, well, maybe not the Spencer Howard thing is a little more understandable, because as you said, there's a little more control there, where the Keynan Middleton thing is just mind-boggling to me. Like, they didn't give up much for him, but it just seems like a very strange, and I joked about it on the live stream. I think I said that it felt like a move that Cashman made because they were the only team that hadn't made a move up to that point. And it was like, oh, maybe we should make just at least one move and get that over with. It's a very strange. I know there wasn't a lot of stuff out there, but again, as we said earlier, they were linked to so many people that got picked up by other teams. And I feel like relievers, the last thing. That's the last problem that the Yankees have. Their bullpen is one of their strengths, and I don't understand the move for Middleton.
You mentioned Cash. Here's what Cash had to say about the deadline. This is coming from Brian Hoke. Quote, they went into the deadline as opportunistic buyers and opportunistic sellers. Then later, quote, cautious buyers. Teams were unwilling to meet the Yankees' prices for players, so Cashman said they decided to take a shot at the playoffs. Quote, we're in it to win it. Went on to say, we stayed the course. We've got Nestor coming back as well as Loaizaga soon, and know that we have better baseball in us, although we haven't shown that and proven that, but we've got 2 more months to show that now. More quotes from Cashman. This is coming from Greg Joyce. Quote, there wasn't a big thing to add, to be quite honest, that was going to solve the immediate problems that we have. Then in terms of the sell stuff, it wasn't really worth it. It was like, I'd rather just keep doing it and take a shot, to be quite honest. I'm going to ask your thoughts in a second. I wanted to quickly get out that I understand the latter of that. Like, obviously, he's the one hearing what other teams were offering for guys like Glaber or, Wandy and stuff. So, like, if in his mind it's like, this isn't enough, this isn't doing anything, like, there's no point in doing this. I get that part. Like, we obviously don't know what was going on in those conversations, those phone calls. So that I can understand. to a degree. In it to win it. Look, we can bang heads on semantics all day long, but and he's right. They haven't proved it. They got 2 months. I don't know. I mean, he would understand the market more than we would because he's the one again having the phone calls. But it's a strange strategy.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think you saw my face, and I don't think anyone's going to see my face because you usually put the tweets up on the screen. So after the first one, when he said we're in it to win it, I rolled my eyes, which reminds me of one of my favorite all-time 30 Rock quotes. I want to roll my eyes right now, but the doctor says if I keep doing it, my ocular muscles might spasm and eject my eyeballs, because it's gotten to that point now where all I do is roll my eyes over everything he says. Because yes, he's the one that listens to the offers, but I feel like he's made so many mistakes. And it's not just last year's deadline. I'm talking about other major mistakes where he's missed out on someone, where, oh, this one's too much for this. And he hangs on to these kids that never amount to anything, because that's just the way it is for the Yankees the past, 20 years. They really lucked out with guys like Pettit and Posada and Jeter and Mo, and like that era. Like those were the only guys that were prospects on the Yankees that really amounted to a lot. And there was such a gap between that time and now. And, missing out on Cliff Lee because I can't remember the specific player he was holding on to. I don't trust him in this situation anymore. I don't even trust him when he says that the stuff that other teams were offering were not good enough. I've gotten to that point where I don't trust his vision. I don't trust anything that he does anymore. He's lost me. I defended Cashman up until probably like 2018, 2019. And now I'm just done.
I mean, it's hard to argue against that. It really is hard to argue against it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, as we said on the live stream, there wasn't a ton out there. Once Bellinger got pulled off of the market, that meant Marcus Stroman got pulled off of the market. Candelario already had gotten moved. So at that point, it was too late as far as impact bats. So the Yankees obviously didn't make any moves to get a bat, which, again, there wasn't much out there by the time they were figuring out if they wanted to do it or not. They just waited too long. They waited too long. But
didn't we say this? Didn't I joke about how they were probably going to wait too long and then they were going to say this sort of excuse like, oh, well, there wasn't a lot out there. Well, there actually was. You just sat on your hands for too long and didn't do anything about it. And it really drives me crazy because I also joked about this. I think I may have joked about this on Twitter. But Cashman is a pro at always doing this around the trade deadline when he doesn't do something. And if someone's injured, oh, well, we're getting this guy back and we're getting this guy back. And I'm surprised he didn't say, well, getting Aaron Judge back is like getting a big bat in a trade. Like, I'm surprised those words did not leave his mouth because he's known to do stuff like that. So,
sure.
But this kind of thing, as a longtime Yankee fan, it drives me insane. It feels like gaslighting at this point. Like, oh, yeah, we have a championship caliber team. You don't. And they've shown that over the past almost 3 months now that no, they're not. And they're not going to suddenly flip a switch and get better and win down the stretch. What we're seeing right now is basically this team because they've been middling since the middle of last season. So I don't know how he could say any of this stuff with a straight face. And now I'm done ranting. And I did it without cursing. Aren't you proud of me?
I'm so proud. Speaking of middling and not contending and not competitive, Yankees lost last night 5-2. Carlos Rodón got roughed up, only lasted 4 innings, nearly threw 100 pitches. Four was the magic number. 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned, 4 walks. Ironically, Manuel Margot, first run driven in, RBI ground rule double in the second on a slider that wasn't a terrible pitch. Honestly, it wasn't a bad pitch. Margot ends up ripping the ground rule double. Yandy Diaz a solo shot in the third. Randy Arozarena hits a 2-run shot in that same inning. Those are 2 fastballs up in the zone. Just still not working for Rodón. The offense was dead silent until they figured it out in the 9th inning.
Wow, shocking. They made it past they couldn't hit against the starter, and then all of a sudden the bullpen comes in and they're like, oh, we're going to score 2 runs because that's their MO this season.
Yeah, Judge missed a couple homers there, just barely got under it there in the 9th. He had another deep fly out to center in his previous at-bat. Glaber down the line, RBI double. He picked up a couple hits last night. DJ reaches on the air. Stanton strikes out to end the game. Pete Fairbanks is filthy, man. Jesus.
Womp, womp. Now, you notice the Rays have hit what are they up to? 6 home runs in these 2 games?
Yeah,
Did they have 4 on Monday? Was that what it was? A different guy for every home run.
Yeah. I mean, their lineup there's a lot in that lineup.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if the Yankees could do
that? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the last at-bat there, Pete Fairbanks spikes the first one, then goes disgusting slider, and then climbs the ladder at 98, and then climbs the ladder again at 99. How do you hit that?
Yeah.
Like, those are both strikes. Well, I think the last one was just outside of the zone, but he had already lifted the eye level. Like, Pete Fairbanks is filthy. I don't care if it was Stanton. I don't care who it is. It was just filthy. You just go, all right.
But it was fitting that Stanton was the...
Of course, pinch hitting in that situation. I mean, again, we talked about it yesterday. What do you do? What do you do if you're Aaron Boone? Like, what are you supposed to do? You put in a guy like that. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then they put in one of the better relief pitchers in all of baseball. It's just tough, man. Yankees lose again. That's 3 in a row. Might get swept. We'll see tomorrow. Let us know how you're feeling about trades and stuff. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Of course, we're going to talk about the Keynan Middleton trade a little bit more and what the Yankees gave up, and also just kind of touch base on some of the minor league stuff that we missed a couple of days ago that we pushed because of the trade deadline. So that's going to come up here in just a second. Don't forget you can leave your questions for Fan Mail Friday as a reply to the tweet down below that's coming up on Friday's show. You could also join our subtext, and thanks to our new subtexter that just joined us the other day. Yeah. We are going to step aside again. Trade fallout, and what did the Yankees give up for Middleton?
Our new sponsor, Sleeper, is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 5 million active users. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. And speaking of that, I am on Sleeper at Stayspace826 if you'd like to be friends with me, and we could build some connections and lasting memories. With Sleeper, predict the hottest baseball stats like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy baseball skills. Entries can be made in 30 seconds or less. It's that easy. Download Sleeper in your app store and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. And you can see Sleeper's terms of use for details. It's currently operational in over 30 states, so check out Sleeper today.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, don't forget you can catch the third game of the series, the finale against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight on Sirius XM, just like you can with every Yankees game this season. And also don't forget to the everydayers out there coming up on Friday. We haven't really been talking about Fan Mail Friday because of all the trade stuff, so don't forget Fan Mail Friday is coming up Friday. I'm sure you guys have questions about the Yankees. You got questions about the trade deadline, the future, all that good stuff. Let us know in the comment section. Again, here on YouTube, reply to that pinned comment down below, and you can be on Friday's show. All right, Stacey. So we mentioned the 2 trades, Spencer Howard for cash, so we're not going to talk about that one. We want to talk about the Keynan Middleton trade. Keynan Middleton is a reliever. He's bounced around his career. He's been an okay reliever in the majors. He's struggled. He's had okay games. Like he's not a massive arm pickup here for the Yankees. So it was I wouldn't say a shock, but it was a confusing move that the Yankees made to go get a rental reliever for what ended up being Juan Carela. So we've talked about Juan Carela on this show. He is a right-handed starter. He was the number 29th prospect in the Yankees system. Carela was with Tampa for the majority of the 2022 season. He had some good games. He struggled. He got called up to Hudson Valley at the end of the season, struggled there, and then, of course, started the season this year with Hudson Valley in the high A ranks. Carela is a guy that has a couple of fastballs. He gets up to 96, and I don't necessarily disagree with moving him. Like if you were to get a piece like that made sense, because we were talking about it on the live stream, how it didn't make sense to necessarily go all in on this team, as we know, but to give up guys like Clayton Beeter or Drew Thorpe or the big names like Jason Dominguez, Peraza, like those names, obviously. But if you're looking at pitching, which obviously the Yankees in 2022 got rid of a lot of, doing that again this year didn't make much sense. Now, Juan Carela is a bit of a wild card. He's still pretty young. I think he's 21. So again, I don't think this was like oh my gosh, why did you trade Juan Carela? That's not how it felt when we read the name live, where we're going, oh, okay, but why? That was, it didn't seem super necessary. I like Juan Carela. Again, I don't know if it's an impact maker. He could be a fourth starter, I think, in the majors. That might end up being where he lands. Could also be a high leverage reliever at some point. So, and again, he's still young. He's only in high A. He's had some pretty good starts this year. He's had mixed results lately. His strikeouts have definitely started to climb in a good way. It's a lot about getting his stuff under control, which is, the case for a lot of guys. So, look, some of the raw stuff is there for Carela. I don't think this was an overpay for what we're looking at here, but I don't think the Yankees are going to go, wow, he really regretted this one. So, and that's no knock on either Middleton nor Carela. But that's my assessment of it. We'll see. I just still am very confused as to why. Am confused as to why. It's a trade that did not need to happen. In my eyes, they wanted to shore up relief. Loaizaga coming back makes things a little more confusing to me. Like if Loaizaga wasn't coming back, then I can maybe see that kinda. And we also talked about it during the live stream stage where we're going, well, it's not like you were like, oh, well, we get Middleton and now, we get to showcase the Yankee way to him and now we can sign him in the offseason. It's like he would have been available in the offseason regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's still odd to me. This is, by the way, a de facto Minors Monday. I know it's Wednesday, but de facto Minors Monday. So I did want to talk about another Yankee prospect since we didn't get a chance to. South Atlantic League Pitcher of the Week, talking about Hudson Valley, Luis Velasquez. So, I love me my unranked guys, Stace. Here's one of them. Luis Velasquez, reliever. So we're talking relievers today, apparently. A reliever with the Hudson Valley Renegades. Ended up throwing 5 2/3 perfect innings this week out of the pen, striking out 8. It is very hard to be a league pitcher of the week in the minor leagues.
As a reliever?
As a reliever. It's almost unheard of. This is coming from the Renegades media staff. Pitching coach Preston Claiborne said this about Luis Velasquez, quote, Luis has taken the challenge of his promotion and run with it. He has such an electric fastball and devastating slider combo out of the little guy. He's very unassuming until you hear that fastball pop the mitt. He's probably the most polite 98-mile-an-hour arm I've ever come across. We're all so excited to continue to watch him develop as a power arm and move up the ladder. So that's really cool, man. Like these are guys that don't get enough love. We've talked about relievers as a whole this season. There's guys that don't get a ton of press and coverage, and that's what we do for you guys here. This is more coming from the Hudson Valley pitching or media staff saying that with Velasquez picking up this award, he's the 6th Renegade to pick up a weekly award. Weirdly enough, Juan Carela did win a Pitcher of the Week earlier in the season. We've talked about Drew Thorpe's Pitcher of the Week, Tyrone Yulee, who was also with Tampa last year. We talked about him. They were all Pitchers of the Week earlier this season. Aaron Polensky, who we've talked about on numerous occasions, was also a Player of the Week back in late May. So, I mean, there are still good pieces in the system, even with Carela leaving. So, they didn't move Oswald. They kept Beeter. They kept Thorpe. They kept everybody save Juan Carela. So if you're looking for, the silver linings, a lot of the guys are still here. They didn't sell out the farm to go and try and get Erod. You know, they didn't try to do something like that. And I think you can kind of take that as a win, Stace.
Yeah. One quick note on Preston Claiborne. When he was with the Yankees, my friends and I used to call him Preston Claiborne Esquire or Preston Claiborne Southern Lawyer, because we thought that his name sounded like he would be dressed like Colonel Sanders and smoking a pipe and being a lawyer in the South with that name. So that was our nickname for him when he was a Yankee.
And that's what you come to this show for, just excellent breakdowns like that.
It's funny. We used to do it on our message boards way back in the day, but
I mean if you were doing it on a message board.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best names ever, Preston Claiborne. Like, come on. And it does. He sounds like a lawyer.
That's good. Luis Velasquez, not a lawyer, but hey.
No. But I do like that the Yankees bring back these guys that they had who maybe weren't, superstars on their teams, but, Shelley Duncan coaching in the system, Preston Claiborne. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Let us know how you're feeling about the Juan Carela move. Are you perplexed by it like we are, or are you like, this is a good move? Let us know down in the comment section here on YouTube, and we'll be hanging out in the comments per usual. We're going to take one last breather. We have to talk about the finale against Tampa Bay when we come back. Back now on Locked On Yankees. Hey, don't forget, SiriusXM is the place to listen to all Yankees games this season, including the finale against the Tampa Bay Rays. Tonight, Shane McClanahan, Gerrit Cole. Good pitching matchup tonight, Stace. Good pitching matchup.
Yeah. Here's Cole trying to be the stopper. But then again, Cole was pretty much the stopper on Friday and got no run support. So who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the offense is at the lowest point it's been all season.
Yeah. It's I knew when I saw that it was 5-0 going into the bottom of the ninth, I thought to myself, well, they're definitely scoring at least one, because that's their MO this season, whereas, oh no, we're not going to be shut out. Not at home. We're going to come up in the bottom of the ninth and score like one useless run. And then when it was 5-2, I was like, and they had people on base, I was like, oh, wait, are they going to shock us all and actually do something here? But no, they did not. But it is a good pitching matchup. I'm just afraid it's going to be like a similar thing to Friday night where it's like 1-0 and Cole pitches his butt off, but has no run support.
Yeah, that was Cole versus Grayson Rodriguez that night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a Cy Young showdown here.
Yeah.
Like these are some of the top twos right here that may end up walking away with the hardware at the end of the season. So I think we're in for a bit of a treat here tonight.
I hope so. I hope we didn't just jinx Cole now.
Well, he hasn't had a stinker in a while. He's, Save May has been great. Like he's really had a nice season, and
that's me.
He's been
knocking on wood.
I hear you. But I mean, like overall, Gerrit Cole for me has been exactly what he is advertised as. I feel like he's stepped it up this season. I feel like his stuff has played really well. Whatever's working that night has worked really well. I think he has a great understanding of what is working night in and night out, and he really gets how to make the best of what he's working with on a given evening. And I think that's what I've been most impressed with Gerrit Cole here this season.
Yeah.
And when some of his off speed isn't working, he relies on the fastball and vice versa. Like all that stuff has been really impressive. He's come out of May really, really well. And he isn't complaining, and he's doing his job. And, I can't think of anything else you want out of Gerrit Cole this season.
Yeah. I don't want to see anyone bad-mouthing him on Twitter. So don't do it, because he's one of the only guys who's actually doing well this season for the Yankees, meaning like just steadily. Because, I mean, it was one bad month, but since then, he's been great. And I've been loving it. And like you said, I love that he is the type of pitcher that can figure out pretty quickly what's working and what's not. And he doesn't, he'll shake off a catcher and be like, nope, we're not throwing that because that's not working tonight. We're going to do, nope, let's do this instead. And I love in his post games when he talks about his performance, he always says he always brings up the catcher. He talks about their game plan and what they did during the game. And I think we're honored to watch Gerrit Cole every 5 days. He's just been great this year.
Yeah, he really has. There was a moment in last night's game, Stacey, it was in the 9th inning when Rizzo reached on that single to right and captured this one shot of him at first base where he kind of just like looked back towards the dugout or looked back at the first base coach, like whatever he looked back at. And boy, I could just see it. I could just see it on his face. Just like it was just like this exasperated, cool, I got a single, great, thanks. Like, gosh, I feel so bad for him. And I feel so bad for this offense. Like they all need another all-star break at this point. Like they are so all done.
Yeah.
And, man, I really don't know what the answer is.
It wasn't getting a reliever.
Hey, 2.
Right.
May I interest you in 2?
Yeah. The answer was not getting 2 relievers, but I mean, this is the team. This is the team to work with. This is the team. Well, I mean, this was Cashman made it. Cashman built this. He's the architect. So there you go. We get to watch his magic for the rest of the season.
That's what we're calling it. Let us know how you're feeling about Gerrit Cole this season down in the comments section. Again, I've been very impressed with him all season long, save May, and I've been really, really thrilled to watch him every 5 days. Of course, while you're down in that comment section, you can leave a question for Fan Mail Friday in the reply, or hit the reply button on the pinned tweet down below that says reply here, and we will consider your question for Fan Mail Friday. You can also skip the line by joining our subtext. Again, thank you to our new subtexters. Whole bunch of fun over there. You get one-on-one text conversations with Stacey and myself. We've been texting a lot the last couple of days because of the trade deadline and stuff like that. So we're going to take a little bit of a breather from that. We've been texting like mad people over there. So we're going to hang out for a little bit, but we will be texting you guys and giving you guys the inside scoop and our thoughts and hear your questions, all that kind of stuff. You got a whole bunch of perks, and of course, there's a 14-day free trial in the episode description. And that's going to just about do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We will see you tomorrow.